breadcrumbs in the cosmic forest. That's my favorite phrase. Remember Hansel and Gretel? They left the
Sure.
breadcrumbs, but then the birds ate the breadcrumbs. So, they are ways that I can, find a way to something I found a way to once in the process of the words coming and maybe the music showing up right then, occasionally first, more often later. I might grab a couple of different elements from different genres of music or something that seem to mash up and to fit to work uh, to create a kind of a bed to put those lyrics on. Um, and that's kind of core for me. And so I love it that you connect to my songs and my music. I think of myself as musical rather than a musician because I know some real musicians, and both in the talent they've been given and then what they've done with it in terms of time and commitment and stuff like that. And I'd rather not create expectations too much higher than what I can actually come up with. And I try to keep there are two quotes I found in a book on calligraphy actually, but they were little quotes. Then one was poems, and I don't make a big distinction between poems and lyrics and all, although I recognize that there are people who do, and I'm open to knowing more about what all that is for them. But poems are never finished, they're just abandoned. So in a way, at some point if you put something in writing and put it out there, you've kind of let it be that. But I'm always sort of finding there's a little something that shifts. And then the other one is people who recite their poetry in public may have other nasty habits. I think that's good for me to remember or whatever. Some of my songs are actually prayers, and there is something about praying in public that's taking on a big responsibility or chance or so and I could share one with you.
I was just going to ask, you want to share one?
Yeah. We've been talking about all these
Yeah.
things, and this one, I actually sort of squeeze it in and as part of a repeated chorus of another song, I haven't, but anyway, it's called, I guess I call it Bigger because I usually call things the first word or line, but it goes, bigger than you, and by the way, that can be the you, like you and me. We don't have I and thou in our language anymore, like once was there. Other languages have the familiar and the respectful or whatever, but the sort of capital U that sometimes people get, sort of proprietary or, kind of judgmental about, who's the you that someone's praying to, along with the way they might be doing it. But either way, bigger than you, bigger than me. Bigger than all our hearts and minds can see, bigger than all we believe there to be, bigger than bondage, bigger than free, bigger than love, bigger than hate, bigger than destiny, bigger than fate, bigger than humble, bigger than great, bigger than race or religion or state, bigger than teacher or guru or sage, bigger than sex or youth or age, bigger than anger, resentment, or rage, bigger than anything said on a page or a stage, bigger than action, whatever we try, bigger than all we accept or deny, bigger than anyone, what, who, or why, bigger than bigger, and bigger than I.
Love it.
Sometimes people say, bigger than what? Gee,
Really listen to it. this total departure from this one, but I was listening to some that last year I had to do a whole bunch of them that I recorded, and I was listening just a little because I remember you were laughing when you shared it. It had to do with an interview in People magazine or something. Do you recall what that was when they wanted you to answer a certain way or something?
Yeah. There were there were two in there right in the early on with Barney Miller, or somewhere in the middle. But one was a TV guide, and the other was a Us magazine.
Okay. And this is while Barney Miller was running or something.
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
Okay,
So it was
Wojo,
this,
Sergeant Wojo and Barney
did a
Miller.
special on TV guide, but the writers, I'll do both of these if you want, because I do remember them. But the TV guide, he kind of took the idea that, I went to an Eastern college and I kind of had a bit of a Brahmin upbringing in a way, although I didn't think about it that way because it just wasn't how my folks were. I grew up in downriver Detroit and all that. But he instead of Grosse Ile, he had me, my hometown was Grosse Pointe, and he just just took a tack like Wojo was stupid and I was smart, that I thought was missing the whole everything that I was trying to share with him and what I felt, So that one went. The writer I can least abide is one who thinks he's on my side and takes the story I confide and fixes it for TV guide. Now, I don't want to start a fight. Life involves much deeper plight, but even in his narrow light, couldn't he get my hometown right?
I just love that.
And the other one was, I think, for Us magazine, and I tried to use that interview to get them to tell a certain story about things that were going on, politically and socially and culturally and all of that. But at that particular point, it was also, there were some bills, kind of like there are bills trying to get through Congress right now, that would undermine the reservation system as a way of at least allowing people with a sovereign relationship with the United States to lose their collective connection to their land and their particular status, So that was going on, and there was we called it the longest walk, and in an attempt to kind of bring attention to it, people had been walking across the country, and I thought, okay, I can use this, and I brought...
you were part of the longest walk.
I was on it for a time, and then tried to help get its awareness in the public,
Sure.
So I learned that there was a whole lot of the system that really wanted to share that story and welcome supporting, and then other parts of it they would shut that down very specifically and kind of behind or undermine or whatever. So I learned about that, which is what led me to when a portable video came out. Let's try to tell this story without trying to manipulate a certain press thing, and but I invited Archie Fire Lame Deer, who is a spiritual leader and a friend of mine, and to participate in it, and they took it some whole other direction that became about. There was also a novel written by a non-Indian woman, Hanta Yo, that was a kind of a sweeping novel that was just right for a big mini-series, But there were a lot of questions on the part of Native Americans, about certain things that were in the book. And some things had been hyped up and got people all upset before they really got what it was. And it was really something that needed a more careful dialogue. And I thought I could be a part of that, but I made the mistake. That was where Us magazine took it as Hanta Yo and Max Gail, against, I forget his name now. He was like one of the biggest television producers, of all time, So it was not helpful. But anyway, so I remember that one, I think, too. This is probably, most people have left the room by now, but I'm sharing with you, so that's what we're doing. So it went, You asked me to do an Us interview because nowadays I'm on TV. The real Max, you'll show them. You can tell them a poem about life, love, and being free. But of Indians I talk, and the longest walk, and the wrongs that they need us to see. You say that's not the scene for our magazine. But without that, they won't have seen me. And I want no success if I have to suppress the truth as I see it to be. You know, it's how I felt, you know. So I wrote that down. At least I felt better.
And pretty much the way you've lived.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. I feel like, I feel pretty good about, like I told earlier, I have some remorse, but I don't have a lot of regrets. I guess you could flip that around or something, but what I mean is that, there have been times that I learned, you were talking about wisdom later, that, along the road you make mistakes. Like what is it, Gary likes to turn words into acronyms, and the one I like is failing, finding another important lesson, inviting needed growth. And I feel pretty good. I feel, I'd like to see some of my own, the relationships among my siblings be better. I'm at a loss on how to do that for all my thoughts about how to, for the people of the world to get along.
Yeah.
I'm stumped, but overall, my kids are all wonderful people, and they've found really good partners, and they've got beautiful children.
And they love being with you. That's what I think is pretty cool. They love being with their dad, and they're grown adults. But I can remember you, you were always, the way you would always be able to, what's the word, deflect, or when, they were upset about something, the way you would use humor when they were kids. I just remember it so well, like, wow, what a novel way to I don't know what the word is, take the negative energy out of a situation, the softness and the way in which you would use humor, was always very loving. So I think you've always been good at that. So
I never felt that having that sort of strong. For one thing, it wasn't what Dad did. Got a lot of respect from Dad for whatever I was into. He would often open my eyes to things going on as he would share. It was not uncommon at all for him to start talking about some kid he picked up hitchhiking, because on the island everybody hitchhiked, and he'd know all kinds of stuff about somebody that was in my class, but I really didn't know that they were a master stamp collector or something like that, But there was a lot of, a couple of times when I just acted out as a bratty adolescent, embarrassed or upset or jealous or something of my younger siblings, and acted like an idiot, I'd get a pretty stiff kind of feedback from him, that I appreciated in time. But I think, and also, my kids had pretty strong moms, who didn't seem to hold back on what they thought was right, Strong.
Well, it sure is
black
fun
women,
to watch several generations. It's hard to look at, Maxwell. I was in the hospital when he was born, and now he's got a child. But boy, what a treat it is, and what a pleasure it is. As we age, which is inevitable, to be able to keep that full circle going and be a part of it. And I've appreciated our full circle over the years.
I love you, Em.
I love you too, Max. Okay, about time. I'm in LA on a 6-hour layover. Max picked me up, and I'm headed to Detroit right now, and I think we're about ready to head to the airport. So great to see you. I love you too.